Hello and welcome to Evolution Art Channel. If we haven't met before, my name is Ezefunoze Ejike. I'm a visual artist. I enjoy painting in realism. I've painted for the wall mural advertisement industry for over 2 decades now, producing wall murals. I also teach and train upcoming mural artists, helping them establish themselves, doing what they love. Today, I would like to introduce you to a brand new method of art making. I would like to show you a new technique of art making called HSAP, and that stands for high speed art production. And first of all, we live in a fast-paced world where we want results very quickly. And art processes and art making in itself is quite something that requires care and meticulous planning. And sometimes it's been taken overboard. But in a world that never stops, you agree with me that the method, the way that we create and consume art is also evolving, is changing. And it's only fair that we adjust our processes to match the need, the demand of things today. Take for instance, in the past, art was never a major part of mainstream out-of-home advertisement industry, but today it is. Many brands, many corporates are now opting for hand-painted murals instead of printed billboard, the traditional media that's always been used in be it marketing campaigns, advertising brands, and so on. Now, to understand this concept well, imagine for a moment, if you would, completing a wall mural that will usually take you 1 week to complete. Imagine completing it in 4 hours. Is that even possible? And this is not a fantasy, it's a fact. That's the reality of high-speed art production. But what exactly is high-speed art production, and why should artists like you embrace it? High-speed art production is a method of painting that combines modern technology with traditional painting techniques. So nothing is discarded here. The same traditional way of doing things still exists, but the methods are enhanced with technology. Just as we know, technology helps make life a bit easier. So this approach has a number of advantages. First of all, it allows the artist, you as the artist, to render high quality, realistic looking images. If you enjoy realism like myself, you will be able to create details to the last bit. And to do that, you need these tools. You need the help that technology gives. For instance, you'll be working with Inkscapes, Illustrator, Photoshop, laser machines, CNC router machines, 3D printer. We use airbrushes, aerosol sprays, as opposed to using only the traditional acrylic and paint brushes and paints. We use digital overhead projectors, and these things have revolutionized the way we create art. So HSAP is about speed and accuracy, and yet the process does not compromise the quality and integrity of your finished product. It's hybrid art making process, and that's beneficial for you because it saves you a lot of time in production. It saves the client time because, let's face it, most clients enjoy fast turnaround times when you produce work for them. So it's a win-win situation. You will spend less on your production because you don't have to go do the work every time. You will save lots of time, you finish quickly, and you get onto other jobs, which is a big advantage for you as an artist. Now, we want to talk about this because many artists, and probably all of us, have been taught that art must take time in order to be considered valuable. In other words, for an artwork to be considered very precious and expensive, worth paying for, People want to hear stories such as the artist used some strange, difficult to apply tool to mix certain things and melt and combine things, and it took him 5 months before he could produce the first segment, which was broken. Then he came back and put it back together, and then discovered a new method and the story behind it and how difficult it was. And the more difficult it was, the more people are willing to pay, because they think, wow, this is something to own. So in addition to that, they believe that spending time means that you are meticulous, and this prolonged effort equals high value. And this has been deeply ingrained in the art world generally, both in the mind of artists who now seek for ways to make the process of making art difficult so that they can add value to their art, and the consumers who want to hear how difficult it was to create. And this notion overlooks so many things. It overlooks the incredible advancements in technology that we all enjoy and ought to enjoy in all spheres of life, including art. Because let's face it, what's wrong in completing a painting that would normally take traditionally 1 week to complete in 4 hours? You get to get the job done, get the proceeds of your work, and use the rest of the week to on whatever you like. Spend time with your loved ones and friends and do what you love to do. So it overlooks that we as artists also need to live. We do not just live for making art. We make art, but we also have a life to enjoy. We also want to spend time on other things that we enjoy. So that's why we're bringing to you this new method called high-speed production. It leverages technology combined with traditional art making processes, and the two put together gives you a very unfair advantage in art production, and it's just amazing, as we're going to see. Let me give you a bit of a perspective to appreciate this better. Sources and history has it that Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel for approximately 4 years. Perhaps we heard that. From 1508 to 1512. And also, he took more than 3 years to sculpt David. Now, these examples, these expressions of the masters, they teach that great works are born from patience and painstaking effort. And that is true. And these prolonged periods attest to that. As a result, you and I will always hear art collectors speak very highly of certain paintings that took a very long time to complete due to certain complicated methods and crafting systems that the artist used, and that's what has been around. And while we do not in any way wish to minimize the creativity in creating those beautiful works of the masters, think for a moment, if we could remove the pain factor and the time loss and achieve the same quality and finish that Michelangelo and Da Vinci achieved over years, would that be acceptable? Will we have made some advancement? Will the artwork still hold value for you? Will you pay a lot of money for it? Will it become something valuable and not a quick, considered something out of mass production? Because that's what high-speed art production process is. It took away all the little hindrances that these amazing masters encountered because they didn't have technology. And now that we have technology, we are able to do the exact same thing. Well, not do the exact same art, but achieve good quality art while removing all the factors that cause a lot of pain and delay in the art making process. So we're trying to explain to you that the process of making the art reveals the value that the art contains, because it was meticulously crafted, because it is something that was achieved, because there's no other way to achieve it than to take that long to achieve it. But what if I say to you that the same thing that they achieved, we can now leverage the help of technology and other machines to do the exact same thing, only that we do it quicker. So if it took Michelangelo 1 hour to perfect the circle, the shape of a circle, and the one next to it, and another circle, what if we found a way to digitally position 3 circles of the same size next to each other and digitally transfer those onto the surface of the wall so you can fill it in and get it done? Does that bother you? Is there ethical issues pertaining to the fact that the artist did not spend time, painful hours lost, crafting 3 circles? So this has come very handy in the world of outdoor advertising. And one mural painting has become an integral part of outdoor advertising. Think, for instance, of scenarios where we have had to paint multiple campaigns. Now, each campaign has 30 to 40 different walls situated in distant, far-flung locations, separate from each other. And you have a deadline to complete the campaign in a period of, say, 2 weeks. Now, taking the traditional approach, the usual way of painting that takes a week for one piece will not be a good idea. You will agree with me. Taking your time, taking breaks, and savoring the moment, because it's the way it's done, is not going to work well here. So high-speed art production is a revolutionary method that ushers in making art in such a way that it's quickly produced and yet the quality meets the standards required by the client. So with this technique, what once took 1 week is completed in 3 hours or 4 hours at most. It's a paradigm shift. It's a departure from the romanticized notion that good art must take loads of precious time in order to be considered valuable. So it is shift from that to an appreciation that you can still achieve professionalism and create highly detailed, super realistic looking, good quality finishes in a very short time. I just want to tell you this story. I once observed a very skilled artist I knew while growing up as a kid. And as a matter of fact, I looked up to this man and hoped one day I could become like him. And I saw and admired how he meticulously enjoyed his painting. He took his time, and every brush stroke on the canvas will be followed by a pause. He will step back and look at it, and come and look at it, and turn around, and he does something else and comes back, and the painting will unfold on its own pace. And I couldn't wait to grow up and become just like him. He took forever, and that was part of the swag. He was so good, and the pace was so good, and no one else could paint like him. So you admired watching him. So it automatically meant that he was so good because he was very slow, and that slow process enhanced the goodness, if you know what I'm trying to say. So the two feed to each other. You are so good, and you are so good because you are very slow, and the slowness is what built the goodness. But in the long run, I realized that there are other ways to do things that could be beneficial for both the client and you as the artist. So if you'd like to learn more about high-speed art production, would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel, because we'll be releasing more videos that explain the exact processes and how to begin this type of production as a mural artist, or as any form of artist for that matter, because the principle is what we teach, the speed, and while maintaining accuracy. And this can be applied to any form of art production process. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.